sophomore Braxton Miller, Buckeye quarterback and Heisman hopeful. He's having a breakout season at breakneck speed with ankle-breaking moves. For the Boilermakers today, it's find a way to bring down Braxton, or it's 8-0 for OHIO. Welcome to Ohio Stadium here in Columbus. It's the Purdue Boilermakers at 3-3, and the Ohio State Buckeyes coming in a perfect 7-0. The Big Ten Leaders Division looks like this. Ohio State and Penn State, they can still win a division title, but they will be ineligible to play in the Big Ten championship game. And Purdue looking for a win today to stay close to Wisconsin. Those bottom four teams all eligible to play for the Big Ten championship. And welcome to Columbus. I'm Beth Mullins, along with former Buckeye great and 16-year NFL veteran Joey Galloway. And Joey, it's no secret that the story so far for this undefeated Ohio State team has been the play of their sophomore quarterback, Braxton Miller.
Braxton Miller has been simply incredible. He's hard to stop, he's hard to tackle, but he's hard to get a hand on. He may be the best escape artist in the country. He has the ability to make 2 to 3 people miss and then go for a 60-yard touchdown. You don't normally see that. This guy's big playability is tough to stop, and he kills defenses.
He's got 5 rushing touchdowns of over 30 yards, 3 of those 50 yards or better for Braxton Miller in his second season of generating the Buckeyes attack. Another capacity crowd here at Ohio Stadium, where the Boilermakers have not won here since 1988. And that's what they'll try and do here this afternoon. And the big story, of course, for the Boilermakers for the rest of the season, Joey, will be an improvement on the defensive side of the football. They got carved up pretty good the last couple of games. K'Wan Short is a guy that could play in the NFL next year. He's got to play like it today.
They gave up a ton of yards and a ton of points, but they feel pretty comfortable with their scheme. Coach Danny Hope said, we got to tackle better. K'Wan Short in the middle, he's the big guy. He has to be the immovable object. He has got to set the tone for this defense if they have a chance to slow down the rushing game of Ohio State.
Defense is on both sides today, looking to restore a little bit of pride. It's the Boilermakers and the Buckeyes from the Horseshoe. And this presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Outside Ohio Stadium as we get set to move inside for Purdue and Ohio State. Plenty of rain overnight and into this morning, but the rain has stopped. The sun peeking out from time to time. 52 degrees at kickoff. And for more on the Ohio State defensive side, here's Lewis Johnson.
Beth, thanks very much. Well, no question the Ohio State defense has been called out this week after struggling the last 2 weeks, giving up 87 points. Urban Meyer expressed his concerns about being exposed in space, saying his players are not making tackles and they're struggling there. So all week long, his defensive coordinator, Luke Fickell, working with a group depleted by injuries, and a lot of them are young, freshmen and sophomores. He has been trying to schematically teach them that they need to force Purdue's offense back inside where he has help, and then, of course, make that tackle. So the Buckeye defense has something to prove today, without a doubt. Now, a couple of key injury updates for Purdue. They've got wide receiver O.J. Ross, who's been struggling with turf toe. Thursday, he went half speed. He warmed up today. Danny Hope says he's good to go. But his cornerback, Ricardo Allen, who has 2 bad ankles, came out and warmed up, and Hope says he will not be able to play today. Beth?
All right, thank you very much, Lewis. The series between these two, the Buckeyes with the overall lead and the decided advantage here in Columbus. Purdue, that was a big win for them last year in overtime. They needed to win 2 of their last 3 games to become bowl eligible. And this is what got it going. Back in November of last season, the Buckeyes, a blocked extra point late in regulation. That sent it into overtime. And then Robert Marv with the keeper, taking it in for the score, and Purdue with the upset 26-23. And Danny Hope, he's had some success against the Buckeyes in West Lafayette. He's in his 4th season now at Purdue, 19-23, and as you can see, you got to go back to the late 60s for the last time the Boilermakers have won a couple in a row against Ohio State. Urban Meyer in his 1st season here in Columbus. Back home, he is 7-0 this year. Overall, 112 wins for Coach Meyer. Ohio State won the toss. They deferred, so they will kick it off to Purdue. Drew Basil kicking off from his own 35-yard line. Akeem Hunt, Danny Anthrop are the deep guys. And it is Hunt going to bring it out of the end zone. And he will get out across his own 15-yard line to the 16. And that is where Caleb Turbush will take over for Purdue in his second year as the starter, the fifth-year senior. 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this year.
Turbush has not started this season off very well. He's the guy they expect to lead their team. He's played better in recent weeks, but he has got to pick it up here today.
They have had 3 different guys, Turbush, Robert Marv, and Rob Henry, all play quarterback, sometimes all 3 in one game. And the drop back for Turbush takes a hit as he releases, and wide open is Shavers out of the backfield. He's got the middle linebacker, Storm Klein beat, and the Boilermakers will take it the distance on their first offensive play of the day. Striking at the heart of the Troubles defensively, the linebacking core.
And that was one of the themes of today. How would the linebackers play for Ohio State? Already, Storm Klein beat man-to-man down the sideline, big play, and that's been a problem for Ohio State, giving up the big, long touchdowns.
Paul Griggs has the extra point blocked by Ohio State. Both teams have been good on special teams in the punt and kick blocking department. But I don't know if that will be able to take away the excitement for the Boilermakers. And the 83-yard touchdown from Turbush to Shavers to get this one going. There you see Shavers rolling down the far sideline for the touchdown for Purdue. Striking at that Ohio State defense. They gave up the 76-yard touchdown pass last weekend against Indiana, and now Shavers and the Boilermakers taking it the distance. And one of the things Danny Hope talked to us about this week, Joey, taking a little play and turning it into a big one. And there's a perfect example of it right there, using the fullback out of the backfield.
Thomas Meadows to kick off for Purdue.
Thomas Meadows kicking it off, headed in the direction of Rod Smith from his own 4-yard line. And Smith shaking loose of a couple of tacklers out across the 35 to the 39-yard line for the Buckeyes offense. They are led by Braxton Miller, the sophomore out of Huber Heights, Ohio. He has accounted for 20 of their 35 touchdowns on the season, and he's averaging 130 yards on the ground per game.
If Purdue is going to have a chance in this game at all, they have got to limit Braxton Miller's ability to make the big play. He's going to gain yards. He's going to get plays in this game, but they cannot give up the long touchdown.
Miller 7th in the nation in rushing. He is 88 yards shy of 1,000 for the season coming in today. And feeling some pressure, and takes a passing play and turns it into a running play for a first down out across midfield. Wrapped up by Ryan Russell.
And you can see early the difficulty in tackling Braxton Miller in the open field. A couple missed tackles already on the first play for Purdue.
Let's see if they'll go after Frankie Williams, the cornerback, the redshirt freshman, getting the start out there on the top of your screen. As Lewis Johnson reported, Ricardo Allen nicked up. And so the redshirt freshman is man-on-man with Evan Spencer. The give will be to Rod Smith. He picks up a yard on the play. Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
At running back, Carlos Hyde averaged 25 carries a game for the last 2 games. Wide receiver Devin Smith averaging 22 yards a catch. And then Bradley Roby, the speedster out at defensive back, already has 1 touchdown this year.
Through the first few games, in a lot of ways, this was a one-man attack with Braxton Miller, and now he's got a running mate with Carlos Hyde the last couple of weeks. Hyde is out right now. Smith is the setback. And Smith, they'll try to run right up the middle and establish their presence between the tackles, but so far, Kawan Short and Bruce Gaston standing tall.
And this will set up the first 3rd and long for Ohio State in this offense, and we'll see if Braxton Miller will put this ball in the air. He's sometimes more dangerous on passing downs with his run ability. Once the defense backs begin to cover, they lose sight of Braxton Miller, and that's when he reels off big plays.
Empty backfield from Miller. Braxton has some time to the 35. Caught for the first down by Michael Thomas, and a gain of 11.
Michael Thomas, a young receiver they talk about, has to develop. He has to learn this system, but they like his skill set. They like what he does. And when he learns this system, they feel he'll be a really good receiver.
Now the Buckeyes will try and move at a little quicker tempo. And instead, they will call the timeout. 12:24 to go here in the first quarter. The Boilermakers out to the quick start in the 6-0 lead. Down on the Tennessee River tonight here on the banks of the Olentangy in Columbus. And the Horseshoe. 6-0 Purdue scoring 83-yard touchdown pass. Turbush to Shavers on their first play of the game. And now the Buckeyes trying to respond. Carlos Hyde in a tailback, and actually he's going to take the direct snap right here. The pitch to Braxton Miller. Miller trying to pass, and he's got to throw it away under duress. Robert Macy and Ryan Russell were getting right up in his face mask.
And give some credit to that Purdue secondary. They had the guys covered downfield that Braxton Miller wanted to throw the ball to. No one's open. He has to pull this down, and then they do a really good job of surrounding him, making him get the ball out of his hands.
Williams, Feichter, Richards, Josh Johnson, the secondary today for the Boilermakers. 2nd and 10, and Miller fumbles the snap, has to fall on it. Purdue trying to grab it away at the tail end of the play, and they got it. It's squirmed out from underneath Braxton Miller. Kawan Short is the guy that was able to get in there and try and pull it out.
And it's just sloppy ball handling by Ohio State. As you can see, Carlos Hyde, Braxton Miller, they collide. And then Kawan Short just jumps on Braxton Miller and steals the ball away.
Did it look like Braxton Miller had possession down on the ground before Kawan Short pulled it out of his grasp? And it does not appear that there will be a review of that play. So Purdue with the turnover. And the drop pass on first down intended for the tight end, Gabe Holmes. Let's see right here.
And Beth, I absolutely agree with you. I would think that that play would be blown dead when Braxton Miller is laying on the ground with the ball under his arm. But apparently the officials saw it differently in Purdue football.
Not a knee down, not an elbow down, but all 4 limbs down on the ground. And it appeared that Miller was on top. But hey, a heads-up play by Short. Shavers. He has a touchdown through the air. He'll try it on the ground, hauled down, trying to get to the edge. Picked up 1. Ryan Shazier, the outside linebacker, got him. Now it's going to be 3rd and 8. Noah Spence coming on, the young freshman for the Buckeyes up front. Purdue will bunch 3 wide to the right. O.J. Ross solo to the top of the screen. The fastest guy on the team. Turbush under pressure from Williams. Throws that one away.
And on the first 3rd and long for Purdue, the Ohio State defense finds a way to put pressure with Nathan Williams, who's had his injury issues, just back today after not playing last week, gets after the quarterback and makes Turbush get rid of the ball.
Well, you know, Luke Fickell feeling a lot better about that possession than the prior one. They will force the punt here. Corey Brown back deep around his own 10-yard line as Cody Webster will kick it away. He's 15th in the country in punting, and he'll get a running start at it. Off the one hop, Brown's going to field it. He'll get it out to the 27-yard line where the Buckeyes will take over. 1st and 10, 11:22 to go. And the turnover as K'Wan Short is able to yank it away from Braxton Miller.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. And Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation that excites.
One of the best equine hospitals in the world is right here at Ohio State, established back in 1885. Close to 1,400 ill or injured horses are hospitalized, and a similar number are treated on an outpatient basis here at the Galbraith Equine Center each year. Now out of the football field, and another possession for Ohio State and Braxton Miller. Corralled at the line of scrimmage by Ryan Russell. This is a Purdue defense. The coaches were very quick to point out alignment and assignment issues last week. They had 27 missed tackles. And this is a group that worked awfully hard this week on the defensive side of the football to remedy that. It's a tough go, though, when you've got Denard Robinson, Monte Ball, and now Braxton Miller 3 weeks in a row. That's the challenge for the Boilermakers. And Miller incomplete over the top of the head of Philly Brown. Going to be another 3rd and long.
And that's what you get with Miller sometimes. Sometimes when he does not get his feet under him pointed in the right direction, the ball will sail and go over the receiver's head. This is just a bad throw, and that's a throw that coordinators like to call for quarterbacks because it's an easy completion and gets them into a rhythm.
Able to convert on their first 3rd down attempt in their last possession, and now from their own 28. Miller, good protection, and fires it to Spencer. The crossing route underneath to the 35. He's going to be 3 yards shy of the marker. Max Charlo, the safety, they will wrap him up.
And again, this Purdue defense finds a way to get off the field on 3rd down. That's a 3rd and long. That's where they need to keep this Ohio State team because it takes the running game out of the mix. And we know what kind of run offense Ohio State has. So make them throw the ball and you will have a chance.
Josh Johnson is the deep man back at his own 20-yard line as Ben Buchanan gets set to boot it away. Johnson spins away from a tackler and out to the 25-yard line. Well, a couple of key plays already for the Boilermakers, starting out with the touchdown, Joe.
And Shaver lined up at fullback, slides out into the flat and runs upfield. And as you can see, Storm Klein, the linebacker, a little out of position, gets lost in coverage, and that's a big play to put Purdue up by 6. And then here's the sloppy ball handling by Ohio State. This Purdue team, they lead the conference in creating turnovers. There's another one, number 15 on the season for this Purdue defense.
Boilermakers with their 15th takeaway of the year. And that touchdown pass, a one-play scoring drive, 83 yards from Turbush to Shavers. We've got an injured player down on the field. Let's take a break right now and send it to the studio and Robert Flores.
All right, Beth, thanks. Taco Bell studio update. Texas A&M caps off a 12-play, 75-yard drive with his touchdown run from Christian Michael. And the Aggies, despite missing the extra point afterwards, they lead LSU 6-0 in College Station. Beth, back to you.
Well, the injured player for the Buckeyes, Devin Bogard, assisted to his feet. We'll assist him over to the sideline.
And it appears his ankle just gets rolled on the turf and gets twisted. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Well, for the Boilermakers, the mantra from Gary Nord, the offensive coordinator: start fast and play fast. They have started fast with the early touchdown and then the 3-and-out on their second possession of the day. Akeem Shavers is the deep back, Caleb Turbush. And defensively now at middle linebacker for the Buckeyes is the converted fullback, Zach Boren, number 44 in red. Shavers locked up, maybe got one. Let's take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
At wide receiver for Purdue, Antavian Edison leads the team in scoring. You got center Rich Smig, the meanest, toughest, the leader of the offensive line, and Kawan Short, the big man in the middle, leads the Big Ten in tackles for loss.
Edison is not out there right now. The Boilermakers are famous for using all kinds of different formations with their backs and tight ends. And incomplete on the pass, looking for Akeem Shavers. They had the 21 alignment there with the two backs and one tight end set.
And that's the difficulty of stopping this Purdue offense, is they bring in a lot of different personnel groupings, run some of the same plays, they look alike, and sometimes it becomes difficult to locate your man.
Gary Nord wants to put the pressure on the defensive player who's responsible for making the calls out there with all the different alignments. Now it's one back and one tight end, 3 wide. And looking for the tight end underneath, incomplete. Gabe Holmes and Crosby Wright each with a drop here in the first quarter, and now it's 4th down.
Ohio State does a really nice job of making Turbush throw the underneath ball here. Now that's a catchable ball, but the Ohio State defense has a chance to then rally and make a tackle before he's able to reach the 3rd and long to get to the first down sticks.
Chris Fields back to receive at his own 32-yard line. Cody Webster, who got a running start at his last kick, does the same to his left, end over end. A one-hopper to Fields at the 28. And he won't get very far. Well played by Richards, who wraps him up around the ankles. 46 yards on the kick, 4 on the return. Here in Columbus, Ohio, the Boilermakers up 6. It was a big week on the ground last week in the win against Indiana for the Buckeyes. A couple of guys over 100 yards rushing.
And Tom Herman, the offense coordinator, has been looking for that thunder on the inside. They needed the tough guy to go inside, and Carlos Hyde has been that thunder, and here comes the lightning. Braxton Miller has been the big play, can score from anywhere on the field guy all season long.
353 yards on the ground, including the 2 guys with 100 yards rushing. Devin Smith also had 100 yards receiving. Just 8 yards rushing thus far. And Carlos Hyde does not have a carry yet this afternoon. And the fake to Hyde, Miller's going to keep. And the pitch to Corey Brown. They've been using the receiver in the backfield. He actually had a rushing touchdown last week.
And even though that's a 9-yard gain by the Ohio State offense, Purdue's defense did what it needed to do. Each guy has a man get the ball out of Braxton Miller's hands.
Brown goes slot. You're starting to hear more and more about how Corey Brown is now the Percy Harvin, if you will, of the Buckeyes. The guy that Urban Meyer used to use at Florida, doing a little bit of everything. Boilermaker showing blitz off the right edge. Miller will run it the other way with Hyde. Picks up a couple. Stuffed by Bruce Gaston. They've got a couple of guys in the heart of that defensive line, 300-plus pounds, that are tough to move.
They've been a little banged up in the inside of this defensive line, and their guys, they've talked about not being 100%. But right here, that's nice at the point of attack by Taylor to stand up his guy and then make Carlos Hyde break around him, which is what they need to do inside if they're going to have success stopping the run.
Taylor at 295, putting his helmet right on the ball. Play action, Miller looking deep downfield, incomplete. intended for Devin Smith.
Braxton Miller's pass intended for
Smith has evolved as the deep threat,
coverage by Josh Johnson.
including a couple of long TD catches last week against Indiana.
And Braxton Miller has to bring this ball across the field further and let Smith run to it to the other side of the field. He throws this one a little upfield and allows Johnson to get back into the coverage.
Miller 2 for 5 through the air thus far, 18 yards. Corey Brown lined up in the backfield, joined now by Hyde on 2nd and 10. The give to Carlos Hyde, and there's a little bit of that thunder up the middle. Across midfield, picks up 7. Tackled by Taylor Richards.
And Coach Meyer talked earlier in the season, he's looking for a running back who does not go down at first contact. And as you can see there, Carlos Hyde took the first hit and drug the guy for 2 more yards, setting up a 3rd and short.
We were here in week 2 for the Central Florida game, and it was such a one-man show offensively with Miller, and a lot of the talk was, how long can he last without any help? Well, help has arrived in the form of Carlos Hyde the last couple of weeks, giving them another weapon out of the backfield. Stone burner in motion. They'll try Hyde. They'll try and muscle it up the middle. Will Lucas, the middle linebacker, coming up to make the hit on him, and he's going to be a yard short, 1.5 yards.
And here's it comes, a 4th and 1 with a good offensive line. You definitely go for it here if you're Urban Meyer, because you talked about how good your offensive line is.
Braxton Miller trying to get to the line quickly, and now they'll check to the side. Miller to Carlos Hyde. He's got it, and then some. Inside the 30. Undercut at the 25-yard line by Frankie Williams, and a big block up front by Andrew Norwell, and a pickup of 20.
And you just mentioned the offensive line and the confidence that this coaching staff has in these guys. And Norwell opens up a huge hole for Carlos Hyde. Big play. A lot of big plays are broken on 4th and 1 because the defense is so inside the box. Everyone's at the line of scrimmage, and allows guys, if they can break the first level, it's a big play waiting to happen behind them.
Over 350 yards rushing 2 weeks in a row. That's the best back-to-back performance since 1980. That sets up Miller to the air, firing again over the top of Devin Smith. He was checked by Landon Fichter.
And again, the ball sails on Braxton Miller. We talked about his passing game. At times when his feet aren't under him, the ball will sail, go over the wide receiver's head. He has got to hone that in a little bit if they're going to have any success throwing the ball.
2 for 6 now for 18 yards. By the way, he has now passed Kirk Herbstreit, and the 15th spot all time in passing yardage at Ohio State in just his sophomore season. Wanted to quick out to Devin Smith. The pass deflected. Josh Johnson was bringing some heat from the cornerback spot, got a hand up.
And that's an adjustment by offenses. A receiver, when he sees the corner blitz, as Johnson blitzes Braxton Miller, the corner just takes a couple steps off the ball, and the quarterback just guns it out there, and it leaves the receiver alone with the safety. There, Johnson did a really nice job of deflecting the pass and stopping the big play possibility for Ohio State.
And they find themselves in 3rd and long once again. Miller looking left all the way, now dropping it underneath to Brown. Nice cutback at the 15 and inside the 10. 1st and goal, Ohio State. Got a terrific block from Evan Spencer to spring him 17 yards.
And Brown ran what we call a jerk route underneath. He comes to the middle, he freezes, it catches the linebacker's attention, and then continues across the field and loses the linebackers and converts the 3rd down.
1st and goal with Hyde behind Miller. Braxton with the keep and the touchdown. 8 yards on the run for Braxton Miller. His 10th rushing touchdown of the season. Drew Basil will attempt the PAT. And a big third down conversion for Braxton Miller through the air and then on the ground for the touchdown. Going against the grain.
And this is what Braxton Miller does so special. You give him a little crease, he can turn into the big play for a touchdown.
Buckeyes on top, 7-6. Braxton Miller engineering the scoring drive for the Buckeyes. They go 10 plays, 67 yards, had a big fourth down conversion and a 3rd and 10 conversion as well en route to the 8-yard touchdown run. A blocked extra point, the difference on the scoreboard here with 5:29 to go in the first quarter. Basil to boot it. Akeem Hunt's going to bring it out. Hunt with a nice lane down the near sideline and the cutback. Akeem Hunt trying to beat the kicker Basil. Hunt going to take it all the way for the touchdown on the kick return. 100 yards and Purdue is back on top. An 83-yard touchdown pass and now a 100-yard kick return for the Boilermakers.
And once again, it's the big play that hurts Ohio State. The big play, the long ones. This is an explosive play for another touchdown.
Last extra point was blocked by the Buckeyes. This one through the uprights for Purdue. And a 13-7 lead. Akeem Hunt, the sophomore out of Covington, Georgia, was actually a couple of yards deep. And it was the cutback right there that sprung him loose.
Does a really nice job of staying inbounds, and once he makes the cutback, there's no one left but the kicker. And as a return man, you will not, you cannot get stopped by the kicker when you have him in open field and you're at full speed.
Did you see that a couple of times in your career, Joey? Just the kicker in front of you?
Yeah, there were a couple of times that when I seen the whites of his eyes, it was over. That is just a general rule. It is tough for you to come back to the sideline if you get tackled by the kicker.
Big play after big play for Purdue here. They talked how important it was going to be in this type of environment to get out to the good start. You fall behind the Buckeyes by a couple of scores. Doubt starts creeping in. And the Boilermakers have said, we're not going to have any of that. 83-yard touchdown pass, 100-yard kick return scores. Rod Smith and Bryante Dunn, the true freshmen, are back deep for the Buckeyes. Smith gets a running start out to the 32-yard line. 5:12 to go in this first quarter, and plenty of fireworks already. And there's Urban Meyer going over to talk to his defensive unit. He spent some more time with the defense this week. They'll get a chance, though, to stay on the sideline here after the special teams score. Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde out of that pistol formation. Miller on the rollout, and his receiver Spencer fell down, and the pass almost picked off by Frankie Williams.
And Coach Tom Herman talked about Spencer's ability to run nice routes. He said he's probably his best route runner, but as a receiver, you cannot lose your feet or bad things happen. That ball should have been picked off and possibly been another big play, a touchdown for Purdue if the defensive back just holds on to it.
Frankie Williams starting today for the injured Ricardo Allen. Looked like he was ready to make a tackle there instead of a catch. Miller tackle in the open field by Taylor Richards, the safety.
And that is one heck of an open field tackle. Braxton Miller, and we talked about his shiftiness, his quickness in the open field. Not many people do that. Not many people get face up with Braxton Miller in the open field and have the ability to bring him down. Taylor Richards just did it.
Sophomore out of Lake Mary, Florida, had the spy on him from the snap. Purdue showing 4-man rush on 3rd and 10. They'll bring a couple of linebackers, and Brown getting open across the middle to the 40, but that will not be enough. Ryan Russell with the tackle, a pickup of 8, 4th and 2.
Purdue mixing up a little bit, bringing the blitz and playing the zone behind it. That's why Russell was 3 to 4 yards deep. He dropped back from defensive end, and it ran the shallow route right to him to make the tackle. And again, Purdue's defense finds a way to get off the field.
Well, Tim Tibesar, the defensive coordinator, the 3rd one they've had in the last 4 years, by the way, told us this week that despite the number of points put up on them the last couple of weeks, he didn't think they were that far off. Able to fall on the ball there is Josh Johnson. But they give up the long touchdown drive for the Buckeyes, but they've also had a couple of big stops. They've forced a turnover so far today, and job number 1 for Purdue was to tamp down the attack for the Buckeyes. They've done that here in the first quarter.
They have done that, and they've gone off the field a couple times. They've given up the long drive, which Braxton Miller ran in for a touchdown, but that's going to happen eventually. This Ohio State offense is going to score points, but can Purdue stop the big plays? Can they continue to move the ball and stay on top and create the big play for their offense?
3rd week in a row for this Purdue defense that they've had a huge challenge with. First Denard Robinson, then Monte Ball, today Braxton Miller. And now they will turn it over to the offense with their backs against the goal line, and Caleb Turbush under duress. And the sack at the 8, Garrett Goebel, the senior out of Villa Park, Illinois, taking him down. It's been a big play Purdue this afternoon. 83-yard touchdown catch by Akeem Shavers on their first offensive play. They forced a fumble, and then the 100-yard kick return for Akeem Hunt. Zach Bourne back in there at middle linebacker for the Buckeyes. He leads the charge up front for the stop. Ralph Bolden. Boilermaker fans happy that he is back in the fold. He's had 3 ACL injuries over the course of his career. A couple of years ago, an all-Big Ten performer.
And Ralph Bolden led this Purdue offense in rushing last season, had the injury, played about 15 plays last week. They said they'd like to get him about 25 to 30 this week. So he is big for their run game and their ability to move the chains.
Nickel package defensively on the field for the Buckeyes on 3rd and 7. 4 receivers for Turbush to look at. Feeling the heat coming from Spence on the backside, trying to get by Boren. Close to the first down out at the 19. The spot, though, is going to put him a yard short.
And that's a big play by Zach Bourne. He's a fullback playing linebacker out in open field with Turbush, makes the tackle. Luke Fickell said, look, he's a football player. He knows how to find the ball and tackle the ball, and that's what he did there. And they should create pretty good field position for Ohio State after this punt.
Corey Brown at his own 40-yard line. And the keeper on the fake punt and a first down. Purdue out to the 22-yard line. Cody Webster picking it up, running to his left.
And this is a play where the punter, Cody Webster, is just reading the defense. He runs out to his left, and he decides, can I make this? Can I get a few yards? It was just a 4th and short, and it's a risky play on your own 20, but they convert, and that is another one of those big plays for this Purdue team.
Danny Hope says his special teams have to be a difference maker. They are the difference maker thus far. Akeem Shavers Picks up 3 on first down, runs into John Simon. That's old school. Look at Danny Hope's he's got the whistle on, even down on the sideline. He's ready to coach him up.
I mean, between the mustache and the whistle, I mean, he looks like a old school coach from the 1960s.
Fourth-year guy. He knows how big this is. He's been at Purdue for 10 years as a head coach and assistant. That'll be another first down for the Boilermakers, moving the chains. Shavers finding some success out of the backfield in a gain of 8.
They're doing a nice job of keeping the Ohio State defense off balance. That's what they talked about. They wanted to show them a bunch of different looks. And again, here comes Shavers out of the backfield into the flat to get a first down. But Shavers out of the backfield has been good for them today. That's how they scored their first touchdown, with Shavers lined up at fullback, went out to the left side and got a linebacker in one-on-one man. And then on this last play, again, out of the backfield into the flat.
Defensive coordinator Luke Fickell pulling his guys together as the first quarter comes to an end. And the Boilermakers liking the score, 13-7 on the road. Back here at Ohio Stadium, the Purdue Boilermakers leading the Buckeyes 13-7, trying to hand Ohio State its first loss of the season. An 83-yard touchdown pass, a 100-yard kick return for the Boilers. Braxton Miller's got a rushing touchdown for Ohio State. Out of the I formation this time for the Boilers. That's Ralph Bolden with the cutback out across the 35 to the 37-yard line, following the block of Rick Schmeig, the center.
And Rick Schmeig is the guy that this offensive line, they look to for his leadership. They look to for his toughness. He's the guy. He started for 2.5 years now. He is one of the vocal leaders of not just the offensive line, but the entire offense.
Second down for Turbush, going to change things up. Bolden, the deep back behind Brandon Cottom. It's going to be Bolden again. Stuck right at the line of scrimmage. Ryan Shazier coming up to plug the gap. Well, let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary through our first quarter this afternoon. Shavers with the big touchdown catch. Hunt, the kickoff return. And the Boilermakers looking like the team in that first quarter that I think everybody expected right from the start of the season. And coming in 3-3, they'll have to win 3 of their last 6 to become bowl eligible. That's what they were last year, though. Will that be good enough this time around? Looking for the third down conversion, and they've got it. Crosby Wright, the tight end, with the first down catch and a gain of 6. I think coming into the season, Danny Hope and the Boilermaker faithful had sights set on something much bigger than 3-3. It's still not out of the realm of possibility they can win the Leaders Division and play for the Big Ten Championship.
It's still possible, but it is tough to do, and they're going to need some help. And if they lose this game here today, then it becomes pretty much impossible. They'll be back 3 with 4 games left.
Turbush and Tavian Edison, his first catch. He'll pick up 3 or 4 out to the 48-yard line. You know, the expectation coming into this season was 2 of their strengths would be at quarterback and at D-line, and those have been spots where they've been looking for some consistency. They're hoping to find that from Turbush today. Because they've had 3 guys at quarterback who have played a lot of football, that was the strength. You looked at Purdue and said, quarterback position, they're the best in the Big Ten, and it just hasn't worked out. And when your quarterback position doesn't work out for you, it will affect your entire team. There's Robert Marv, the backup quarterback. Right, going to the tight end again. They use those tight ends effectively. Spot should give him another first down to the Buckeye 44-yard line and a gain of 7.
Coach Gary Nord is attacking Ohio State out in the flat. He must see something in this defense that the linebackers are not getting wide quick enough, and he's done a couple balls out to the flat and been able to move the chains by gaining 3 to 4 yards out in the flat. But the key is the amount of yards they gain on first down. When they get that 5-yard gain on first down, it gives this Purdue offense a chance to get 5 yards and 2 downs, and they've done that pretty good.
And Joey, we're seeing quite often here so far in this first half, the Buckeyes going a lot with their nickel package and just the 2 linebackers, Shazier and Bourne. And this is the give to Bolden. Good cut to the outside and inside the 40-yard line. Ralph Bolden showing some of his stuff from earlier in his career, tackled by Christian Bryant.
And Ohio State has been in that nickel package because this Purdue offense a lot of times just has one back in the game. There is no true fullback a lot of times, so it forces the defense to stay in a nickel package so they can keep up with the skill guys from Purdue.
The 13th play of the drive for Purdue. Remember, it was kept alive by the 4th down fake punt run by Webster. And now Hunt cannot get to the edge. Shazier, the leading tackler this season for the Buckeyes, getting another one.
Ryan Shazier is a guy who is the most athletic linebacker on this team. You talk about the troubles and the depth that Ohio State has had at linebacker, but one guy, Ryan Shazier, has showed up game after game. He's getting 9 tackles a game this season, and you can see here today, he's the guy that has the ability to tackle on the open field and go sideline to sideline.
3rd down. Turbush quickly gets it out of his hands, and another first down for the Boilermakers to Gary Bush. 8-yard gain, move the sticks.
Coach Nord talked about Turbush's ability to sustain long drives, get the ball out of his hands. This is a quick strike in a tight zone area. Nice job by the receiver, find a nice soft spot in the zone, and Turbush delivers a strike on time. Those are tough to stop in the zone if the quarterback delivers the ball on time.
5 straight completions for Caleb Turbush. They've always liked his composure at quarterback. And now it's Rob Henry in there, and he will keep it and run for 9, maybe 10 yards and another first down. The spot will leave him just short. And now they're going to stop the clock and maybe take a look to see if he got it at the 22-yard line, following his center Peter's drive.
And Turbush is not a great athlete, doesn't run really well, but because they have this Ohio State defense off balance right now, it allows for gaps in the defense and allows Turbush to run for 9, maybe 10 yards here.
That was actually Rob Henry who snuck in for the play. We were told by the coaching staff this week that he is the 3rd fastest guy on the team, so we might see him in a hybrid role from time to time as a quarterback or a running back or possibly even at wideout. Although pregame today, we saw him exclusively hanging out with the QBs.
I thought Turbush looked a little fast there. I mean, he went through the line, I'm thinking.
He ran the 9 right off his back.
Yeah, that was impressive by Turbush, Marv, and Henry there.
They will rotate Turbush back in at quarterback, and now Henry is at wideout to the top of the screen. And 2nd and short, Turbush, the keeper straight ahead, and dives for the first down.
This offensive line did a really nice job of getting movement. I mean, it's second, and you need an inch. All you need is a little bit of movement. And you got Hankins and Goebel in the middle. Those guys are hard to move, but this offensive line got low and moved these guys back and gave Turbush just enough room to get a couple yards and move the chains. That is Turbush, correct?
Yeah, that was Turbush on that one. Yeah, that offensive line, they talk about team takeoff on the offensive side of the ball, and that quick burst by the O-line got it started. 1st and 10 Boilermakers. Well, the best way to not let Braxton Miller beat you is to keep him on the sideline. And the extended possession here for the Boilermakers. To the air intended for Ross, and a penalty flag as Bradley Roby had hands on the wide receiver, and there's also a penalty flag in the backfield.
Ohio State decides to bring up blitz here and play man-to-man coverage to the outside. That's a tough situation for a corner, and he has to relax. Just play the ball when it comes and try to keep your hands off the receiver. A lot of guys aren't very good at that, and a lot of times it turns into a pass interference.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 19 defense. That penalty is declined. Why is that declined? Pass interference, defense, number 1. That's a spot foul, automatic first down.
They will take the spot foul on the wide receiver instead of the Johnson roughing the passer penalty. And Roby hands on the receiver.
And then in that situation, Roby's in perfect position. Just relax, turn, and play the ball when it's in the air.
Shazier again making the stop. Got some help from Hankins. Edison, the ball carrier. 2nd and goal coming up on the 18th play of the drive. It started back on their own 9-yard line. They'll pitch to Edison, lined up the tailback. And he cannot get by C.J. Barnett with the tackle. 3rd and goal.
And this is what Purdue likes to do. They like to bring their guys and line up guys, receivers in the backfield. They'll put running backs out wide. It just gives you a multitude of looks. Now here on 3rd and 6, you expect to see maybe a play action pass. And this will be where the linebackers will have to show they have the ability to cover and the ability to get out to the flat, because that's where they've been hurt by this Purdue offense.
No tight ends here for Purdue. 4 wide, Bolden in the backfield. Turbush popped up in the air and intercepted in the end zone by C.J. Barnett. Ryan Shazier tipped it. And the Buckeyes get the turnover. Shazier almost had it in his hands, and Barnett secures it in the end zone. A long drive for the Boilermakers, and they come up empty. A lot going on here in the first half at Ohio Stadium. It's been a first half of big plays, Joey, and it started out the very first offensive play of the game.
Purdue wanted to start fast. You can't start any faster than this. The big play puts 7 points on the board, and then you go to the kickoff return. This has been a total team effort for Purdue. They've scored on offense, they scored on special teams, and then Ohio State, Ryan Shazier has showed up here today, gets the big tip for interception, and stops Purdue's chances to go up another score.
6 tackles for Shazier and the deflection that resulted in the interception. And now for the Buckeyes offense. Carlos Hyde could not get to the outside. Good pursuit by Frankie Williams. Let's check in now with Robert Flores.
All right, Beth, Dr. Pepper 10 conference update from the ACC. After spotting a Virginia Tech a 7-0 lead at home, Clemson has scored 10 unanswered, including Taj Boyd's leap over the pile and in for the touchdown. Number 19 Clemson leading Virginia Tech 10-7 second quarter.
Thank you, Robert. 13-7 Purdue. They had a blocked PAT. Otherwise, a couple of scores. And even though they didn't get points on that last drive, Joey, they ate up 10.5 minutes off the clock. That's 10.5 minutes less for Braxton Miller to work with. Absolutely. They kept the Ohio State offense on the sideline, and then they come out on the first play, and they make the offense go sideways, and that's what you have to do to stop Carlos Hyde. And then on the second down, they give up 4 yards, but now it sets up a 3rd and 5, and Purdue's been pretty good on 3rd down so far on defense. Just 58 yards rushing, 48 yards passing so far in the first half for Ohio State. Miller gets by one guy, gets by another, able to elude Kawan Short, firing it deep downfield and incomplete over the head of Brown, but a penalty flag. Taylor Richards was on the coverage. There's also a second penalty flag back behind the line of scrimmage.
You wonder if there's an offensive lineman downfield on the pass, and the one back by the line of scrimmage, you wonder if that's what that call will be.
I think he pointed in both directions, so it might be the offensive pass interference as well as the ineligible.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, offense number 16. That penalty's declined. Ineligible downfield, offense number 77. That penalty's declined. Brings up 4th down.
Well, they called that pass interference on Evan Spencer, who was not the intended receiver. He was behind the play underneath and did have some contact with the defensive back. So both infractions going against the Buckeyes. Josh Johnson back to receive. Can special teams for Purdue make a difference yet again? And Johnson will put up the fair catch signal. He drops it. The wrestling match for the football, and Josh Johnson able to get it.
And that's the second time Purdue has put a ball on the ground on special teams. Luckily for them, they've been able to jump on both of them. But you wonder, what is the problem with catching these punts here on a clear day?
One of the reasons might be one of their return guys, Raheem Mostert, is out today with an injury, but they are still on top, 13-7.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Edward Jones. Join the nearly 7 million investors who know FaceTime and ThinkTime make a difference. And Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with Kay.
Building where Joey Galloway spent many of hours studying during his days as an Ohio State Buckeye. That, of course, would be the library here on campus. Beth Bowens, Joey Galloway, Lewis Johnson with you here in Columbus. And a touchdown lead for the Purdue Boilermakers. Caleb Turbush going to keep it. Of course, we talked at the top of the program, Joey, about how both defenses wanted to put a little pride back in their game. Well, Purdue's defense has held Ohio State's offense in check. And for the Buckeyes, problems at linebacker. So what are we seeing today? Well, we're seeing a lot of nickel defense and only 2 linebackers in Ryan Shazier and Zach Boren spending a lot of time at middle linebacker after Storm Klein got beat on the very first play of the game. Nearly picked off by Christian Bryant.
Nice play by Bryant, finally making a play out in the flat. That's where they've been hurt. As you can see again, Turbush trying to get the quick ball out to the flat. And that's the first time today that Ohio State has stopped that play. And that may have been their chance for a big play to take the lead in this game.
3rd and 9 for Purdue from their own 32-yard line. Turbush, they set up the wide receiver screen for Delapo McCarthy, and that will be well short of the first down. Watching that Indiana tape from last week, I'm sure Purdue looking to attack on the perimeter. The Buckeyes defense has had some issues with the screen plays, the receiver screens. Cody Webster now on to punt it away. Corey Brown back to receive. Corey does have a touchdown on a punt return. That 76-yarder against Nebraska earlier this year. This one will send him backpedaling. Takes a Buckeye bounce and goes sideways at the 19-yard line. 43 on the punt from Cody Webster, right on his average for the season. Now for today's Aflac trivia question. Well, Urban Meyer is 7-0 at Ohio State. What coach has won more consecutive games to start his Ohio State coaching career? Could be more than one. 13-7, Purdue with the lead over Ohio State. The Buckeyes averaging 40 points per game, but well, they had the one long scoring drive for 67 yards. On their other 4 possessions, Joey, the offense has mustered just 39 yards of offense, and their running game has yet to get going after back-to-back games of over 350 yards on the ground. Miller's got some heat coming, delivers before Macy gets to him, and Carlos Hyde picks up an extra yardage. Picks up an extra yard, rather, at the end of that play. Frankie Williams with the stop.
And this is an important drive for the Purdue defense. Everything that has gone right for this Purdue team in this first half, the worst case scenario would give up a touchdown here and go in at halftime without the lead.
Tim Tibesar's got to be pleased thus far at the job this defensive unit has done, including forcing a turnover. Marcus Hall trying to plead his case on that right side.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, that is not an argument that Marcus will win.
And Ohio State has hurt themselves today with a few penalties. And again, here, it sets up a 2nd and long. And they have not thrown the ball very well today. And it sets up a passing down.
Braxton Miller just 6 for 13, 52 yards through the air. Miller gives to Carlos Hyde, nowhere to go. The first gap stuffed by Ryan Isaac, and then K'Wan Short finishing it up. Well, our Aflac trivia question, Urban Meyer 7-0. There's a couple of guys that have done even better in their first seasons as an Ohio State coach. Joey, any ideas?
I think any coaching question, people would think Woody Hayes first, so I'm guessing that's not the answer. I'm going to go with Earl Bruce.
Earl Bruce. All right. Actually, Carol Widows, back in 1944, started out 9-0, and there he is, Earl Bruce.
There we go.
Holding back the Buckeyes on that 11-0 start in 1979. Miller going to keep it, and he will go down. Ryan Russell with his 3rd sack of the season. The sophomore out of Carrollton, Texas. Right in on top of Miller.
And Ryan Russell's a guy that they expect big plays from. He's been injured this season. He's not 100%, but he looks great on this play. Open field again. These guys have done a really nice job when they've had their opportunities against Braxton Miller in the open field. That's a defensive end versus Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller wins that battle 99% of the time.
He came around on the stunt as K'Wan Short took care of 2 offensive linemen. The boot is away, and the fair catch, and boy, another bobble on a return. That's Frankie Williams who's out there to make the play. The Boilermakers on top, 3:15 to go in the half. Back here in Columbus, another busy day of college football coming your way. Saturday night football, we've got a couple of choices for you. Florida State, Miami, and Baylor, Texas. That's tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, presented by Windows 8. Check your local listings for which game you'll get in your area. We got a pink in the house. It's their Breast Cancer Awareness Day here in Columbus. Ralph Bolden getting to the outside, and a nice cutback across midfield and down to the Ohio State 48-yard line, tackled by C.J. Barnett.
And Storm Klein here back in the game at linebacker after taking a couple series off. He should be able to get to the flat to stop that run. Doesn't quite make it, doesn't have the foot speed, and they're able to pick up 8 yards to set up a 2nd and short.
There is Storm Klein back in at middle. 2nd and 2. And a good push forward by that offensive line gets the 1st down yardage for the Boilermakers.
And there's Klein, initially untouched, and you wonder, is he banged up a little? He took some series off there, and Zach Bourne played at linebacker in his position, so you wonder, is he banged up? Is he healthy enough to go? On that play, he did not look real good.
That was a couple of plays ago. He did miss some time with the back injury last week. And that precipitated a move by Zach Boren from fullback to linebacker. And on 1st and 10 for Purdue, it's Henry back in at quarterback, and he will hand it off for the 1-yard gain to Ralph Bolden. Let's check in with the studio and Robert Flores.
All right, Beth, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, brought to you by HP. On ESPN, number 18 Texas A&M continues to lead number 6 LSU 12-0 second quarter. Meantime, on ESPN3.com, Auburn is trailing Vanderbilt 7-3. That's Wesley Tate with the short touchdown run for the Commodores. Beth.
Thank you, Robert. Turbush back in there at quarterback. And out to the flat. And the catch made by Delapo McCarthy. Travis Howard with the tackle.
And that's a nice gain. And again, Turbush gets the ball out of his hands and delivers a strike. And it's a nice gain because it sets up a 3rd and 2. And again, if you want to keep the defense off balance, get these 3rd and shorts, and it allows you to either run or pass the ball.
Shazier showing blitz up the middle with Klein. The 2 linebackers will now step back as Turbush will change things up. And a timeout called by Purdue.
Timeout.
As the play clock
Purdue,
is winding
their
down.
first timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Got a minute and a second left to go here in the first half. Well, with the trophy still up for grabs, the second half of the chase will get underway in Kansas. Brad Keselowski still on top. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas, presented by Rams, Sunday at 1 on ESPN. 5 races left in the chase, and we're off to Kansas tomorrow. Keselowski on top. Clint Boyer made a nice move up to 4th with his win last week. Jimmy Johnson lurking right there in that number 2 spot.
And Jimmy's the one that makes you nervous because he's only 7 back with 5 races left. And you know what comes chase time, Jimmy Johnson always shows up.
One of those 5 championships in a row, trying to get another one after missing out on it last year. 3rd and short. Turbush at quarterback, Shavers behind him. 2 for 7 on 3rd downs today. And that will come up just a bit shy. Got inside the 35, needed to get inside the 34. Jonathan Hankins, the projected first-round draft choice defensive tackle, with the stop.
And that's an interesting call for Purdue. You know, Coach Nord told us that they've struggled.
Well, it looks like are they
Not
thinking
sure
of going for it on 4th down? Paul Griggs, their kicker, his long this season is 40 yards. So
Coach Nord talked about their struggles with run blocking. He said they protected Turbush pretty good the past few weeks, but their run blocking has struggled. And then on a 3rd and 2, they decide to run the ball. They've had really good success dropping the ball out to the flat and picking up those 3rd and shorts. That time they get stopped on a 3rd and short running up the middle.
And Turbush will call a timeout.
Timeout, Purdue. That's their 2nd timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
22 seconds on the clock. Purdue has 1 timeout remaining. And the 13-7 lead, looking for the win on the road. You got to go back to 1988, the last time that the Boilermakers won here in Columbus. Just twice in the last 60 years. But, Joey, they really set the tone with the 2 big plays early on, the 83-yard touchdown pass and the 100-yard kick return for a score.
And then don't forget the turnover they created on defense when we thought that the ball may have been down, but Kawan Short gets the turnover. The key is they will go into at halftime with a lead. Now, I think that's important. There's only 22 seconds left in the half. They have a 4th and 1 here, but they get to go into the locker room with the lead and a little momentum, and I think that allows them to come back out in the second half and feel really good about themselves.
And instead of going for it on 4th down, they will attempt a 52-yard field goal here for Paul Griggs. That would be his season high. On its way, and it is no good. Well, I'm not sure, Joey, if it was indecision. You got your offense out there. You got an opportunity on 4th down. And then the timeout, and they bring on the kicking unit. And they try and get Griggs his season long.
Ohio State has a couple timeouts here. I mean, if they can reel off another one of their big plays, because they have that ability, they may have a chance to at least get a field goal out of this.
Miller out of the gun. Good protection. Going deep. Looking for Smith. Incomplete. Down at the 15-yard line. Josh Johnson with the coverage.
I'm really surprised at the coverage here. I mean, this is a man-to-man one-on-one route outside versus Johnson. I'm extremely surprised that they would allow this to happen, because this is a makeable play. If he catches this ball, he has a chance to get into the end zone. Why not put more defensive backs back there just to stop the big play? You can give up the running yards at this point. Don't let him make the big play downfield.
Well, it also looked like Devin Smith could have made an attempt on that ball. It was a little bit short. And now Miller on the rollout. And he'll run it out of bounds to stop the clock with 4 seconds left.
Forced out of bounds by Bruce Jensen.
Of course, the other story here in the first half is the much maligned Purdue defense, which has been stellar. The Buckeyes average 40 points per game. They've been held to 7. And the 8th best rushing team in the country has been held to just 49 yards on the ground here in the first half. Miller with Gaston coming up the middle at him. Braxton scrambles to buy some time. And will chuck it underneath to Carlos Hyde, who has to go to ground to make the catch. But a penalty flag at the end of the play, and Braxton Miller is down on the carpet. He took a hard hit from K1 Short, and that drew the flag, and Miller is slow to get up.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 93. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's automatic first down. We'll play an untimed down.
This is just not smart. Just not smart by your veteran, Kawan Short. He's your leader. He can't make these kind of plays. You're about to get off the field and go in at halftime with a lead in Ohio Stadium after losing 2 straight games, and you make a play like this. That's just not wise.
Looked like Short had plenty of time to stop himself. Instead, he lowered the helmet and took Miller to ground. And that will get the Buckeyes another play from midfield. Miller lofts one up for the end zone. And it is intercepted by Josh Johnson to end the first half. And Purdue on the road will head to the locker room with the lead at 13-7. An 83-yard touchdown pass to Akeem Shavers, a 100-yard kick return for a score by Akeem Hunt. And for the Buckeyes, Braxton Miller at an 8-yard touchdown run, the scoring in that first half. Down to the field now, and Lewis Johnson.
All right, Beth, thanks very much. Well, defensive struggles still continue. What's the message here at halftime for them?
Well, defense, other than the first plays, played great. You know, they've stopped them, and I mean, held them till I don't believe they scored. It was first play of the game and then a kickoff return, which is unbelievable.
All right, now, how do you get this offense, which has been so prolific, going here in the second half?
We got to block them. I mean, that's been our MO right now, is to block them up front. We're not doing a great job of that.
All right, Urban, thanks. Beth?
Thank you, Lewis. At the half, our score, Purdue 13, Ohio State 7. The studio will catch you up on all the scores and highlights from the afternoon after these messages from our ABC stations. Purdue's been getting their good time on here in Columbus through the first half of play. 13-7. Purdue looking to hand Ohio State its first loss of the season, and a couple of big plays, the difference for the Boilermakers. Beth Mullins along with Joey Galloway, a stout defense in that first half for Purdue, and a couple of big plays to get them on the scoreboard.
And this is a defense that has given up almost 800 yards rushing in the last 2 games. They go into the second quarter, they pitch a shutout, and then they've only given up less than 50 yards rushing to Ohio State. Braxton Miller, Carlos Hyde, guys who have been on fire running the ball. This Purdue defense has played well, and they've tackled well. 9
plays in the second quarter for the Buckeyes, and a big bagel in terms of total yards. They ended the first quarter with 101. They end the first half with 101, and a lot of that had to do with that Purdue defensive effort led by those guys up front. Let's see what Urban Meyer, the offensive whiz, has in store coming out of the locker room for a Buckeye team that averages 40 points per game. They will have the ball first to start out this third quarter. Rod Smith switches direction and gets out across the 25 to the 26. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. It started in a hurry for the Purdue offense.
Shaver lineup at fullback, gets out. He's their leading rusher, but today he gets out for the big pass, beats Storm Klein for the long touchdown. And then you have the kick return, goes untouched up the sideline, cuts back, and no one left but the kicker. And a good kick returner always beats the kicker in the end. And then you have Braxton Miller, of course, on the run.
Braxton Miller rolling out to his left through the hands of Corey Brown, incomplete. 49 yards on the ground, 52 yards through the air for the Buckeyes. They come in averaging over 450 yards per game.
Braxton Miller has not been very accurate today. That ball was catchable, but again, high. His ball has been sailing high here all afternoon.
6 for 16 for Braxton Miller. Hyde offset. Miller going to keep it. And he will get just a couple. Taken down by Ryan Russell. Ohio State, its scoring drive in that first half, capped off by a Miller run. They covered 67 yards, but then in their other 6 possessions, just 34 yards of offense.
I think he made a mistake on this last run, and he doesn't make many in the run game. He looked like he should have stayed play side. He had blockers out to the left. He cut back and allowed Purdue's defensive line to get back into the play.
Empty set for the Buckeyes on 3rd and 9. Blitz coming off the edge. Miller gets rid of it, and another drop. This one by Fields. A couple of yards short of the marker. 4th down.
Purdue sends a blitz off the left side. Braxton Miller does a really good job of getting the ball out of his hands, giving the receiver a chance to make a play on a 3rd and long. Drops the ball, and now Purdue defensively again starts off the second half the way they played in the first half.
Go, go! Frankie Williams is back deep to receive the punt. It is a short one, and the Boilermakers have to look out that it doesn't unintentionally hit one of them. Officials are looking at each other and still have not signaled who's got possession. The Buckeyes say it did hit a Boilermaker. Still no word from the striped shirts as they get themselves together at the 37-yard line.
There'll be legal touching on the kicking team. It'll be receiver's ball, 1st down.
So Purdue will get it. Well, you could tell, too, from the referee there, Mike Cannon, the wind has picked up significantly here in this 3rd quarter as the skies have darkened. First touch of the second half for Purdue. Caleb Turbush with the eye behind him.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was the kicking team touched the ball.
We'll take a quick timeout just underway here in the 3rd, and a 13-7 Purdue lead. Let's take a closer look. Eagle Eye Joey Galloway able to spot this one, hitting Marcus, number 34. Right there on the leg. So it hits the Ohio State player
Ball
first.
hit the 18 on the 44-yard line. The spot of illegal touching. That's where the ball will be placed. First down.
Well, they said that hit Carlos Hyde at the 44-yard line. So this will be a net gain on the review of 7 yards, but it actually looked like it hit Hyde out around the 48 or 49, or Marcus, excuse me.
At least on the O in the middle of the field. So that is interesting that they went to the replay.
So the review benefiting the Boilermakers. 1st and 10 at their own 44-yard line. Joshua Perry could not get Bolden in the backfield, and Ralph picks up 3 out to the 48.
Joshua Perry, a freshman, being forced to play at linebacker because of the depth. That's a play he has to make. You just believe what you see. The running back is in front of him. Step up, make a play. Don't allow the 3-yard gain. Set up a 2nd and long.
What is the linebacking issue at Ohio State? Well, how about on that last play? You had a sophomore, a true freshman, and a fullback as your 3 linebackers. And there is the converted fullback, Zach Boren, who made the switch before last week's game. Turbush will keep. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 3rd and about 6. Nathan Williams with the stop. Boren had a hand in it.
Purdue hasn't gone downfield very much with their pass game today. As I spoke about earlier, they were able to hit those short routes out into the flat. But here on a 3rd and 6, they're going to have to find a way to get a little further downfield versus these pretty good defensive backs from Ohio State.
Well, the Buckeye defense has also been much better, as Urban Meyer told Lewis Johnson at halftime, than they were a week ago. Here on 3rd down, looking for the stop. And Hunt coming out of the backfield, and they'll get it at the 49-yard line. 4th and 5. Orion Johnson, the nickelback, had the coverage.
And that's the flat throw that Purdue is. They've completed that throw a number of times today, but usually when they do it, it's a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 3, and that's a good enough gain. On 3rd and 6, that's not good enough.
Cody Webster, who does have a fake punt for a 1st down in that first half. Philly Brown back deep inside his 10. He'll come out and call the fair catch and let it fall in behind him for the touchback. Well, let's send it down to the field now, Lewis Johnson.
All right, Beth, well, I talked to Danny Hope coming out of the locker room, and I asked him, what did that touchdown from the first play of scrimmage do for your team? He said, first of all, going back to the toss, when Ohio State won the toss and deferred to them, that's exactly what they wanted, because they wanted a lead, and they wanted to force Ohio State to have to play catch-up. That's the situation they're still in. As for the second half, he said one of their keys to victory is take the fight to the Buckeyes. So now Danny Hope is looking for a defensive stand to see if they can keep Braxton Miller and company in check. He said that would be huge if they can do that here in the second half.
Thank you, Lewis. Well, an offense for Ohio State that seemed a bit lackluster in the first half. Let's see if they can get it cranked up here in the 3rd. And that's going to be
timeout.
An Ohio State timeout.
That's the first timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
We'll take a second to let you know about what's coming up on ABC Prime Time. TV's most friend-tastic comedy comes to Tuesdays this fall on ABC. So have a fun night's stand with happy endings. Premieres Tuesday, October 23rd on ABC. Buckeye faithful hoping that they'll see a little more offense out of their side here in the second half. It's been such a tremendous 7-0 start for Braxton Miller. He's getting close to 1,000 yards rushing. He's been guiding this attack, and he cannot get away from Max Charlo. They have been very good, has Purdue. Open field tackling today, Joey.
Yeah, we saw Richards, the safety, do it earlier. We saw Russell do it, and then Charlo does it. They tackled Braxton Miller open field one-on-one. This usually does not happen, and we're talking about a Purdue defense that struggled to tackle the past few weeks. They have stepped it up, and you can't say enough about what they've done when they've had their chances in the open field here today.
Averaging 130 yards per game, Braxton Miller has been held to just 5 yards rushing so far today. He'll go to the air. Fields with the receiver screen out across the 25 to the 26. Taylor Richards with the tackle. I think in the latest Heismanology from Joe Tessitore, he had Braxton Miller third behind Geno Smith and Colin Klein, West Virginia and Kansas State. Of course, those two guys will be going head-to-head later tonight in Morgantown. 3rd and 3. Miller will give to Hyde, and he's got the first down, breaking into the secondary out across the 40 to the 43-yard line.
And that's nice blocking by the right side of the Ohio State offensive line. Hall, Fragel, good job of opening up that hole, letting Carlos Hyde run downhill. And when he goes downhill, he's tough to stop.
7 carries, 51 yards now for Hyde. Had a couple of 100-yard rushing games last season while Boone Herron was out with the suspension. Then didn't play as much when Herron came back. And now this year, with Jordan Hall out with the injuries, he's got a couple more 100-yard rushing days as Miller is sacked by Robert Macy, the linebacker, taking him down.
And Macy's the guy that this coaching staff talked about. He's the linebacker that has played so well. And sometimes they put his hand down on the ground when they bring in their sub package and they play nickel. He goes down, and you could see his speed allowed him to get around the end and make a sack on Braxton Miller.
Took a bump from Andrew Norwell, kept on his feet, and got to the quarterback. 2nd and 12. Try Hyde again, runs into Short, bumps off of him. Antoine Higgs able to take him down. Back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and long, Buckeyes.
And that's what Short has to do for this defense. He has to be the guy that stands in the middle and does not get blown off the ball. And he did it there. He makes Carlos Hyde have to make a cut. And that's what you need to do. Make Carlos Hyde make a cut in the backfield, and it allows your defense to rally and gang tackle a big, strong guy like Carlos Hyde.
Another first-round projected pick from ESPN.com Scouts Inc. for the NFL draft next spring. Miller empty backfield. Blitz coming from Charlo. Miller eludes it and fires downfield for the first down to Philly Brown. 19 yards through the air for Miller.
And probably the best ball that Miller has thrown all day. He gets outside the pocket, makes the initial play with his feet, and then gathers himself as he gets out, looks downfield, and throws a strike.
This has been his favorite target this year. Philly Brown now with 44 catches, but may have gotten nicked up on the tackle. So Brown off to the sideline. Replaced by Spencer. And Carlos Hyde, the running back, will line up wide right as a receiver. Miller looks the opposite way. He's got a man wide open at the 10-yard line, and diving inside the 5 is Chris Fields. 1st and goal, Ohio State, and a 35-yard gain.
And here Braxton Miller goes downfield with a throw, and you wonder if, you know, and here's Carlos Hyde out here, and Purdue is worried about the screen out left, and they break the coverage to the other side and allows Braxton Miller to go downfield to make a big play for the offense.
Carlos Hyde, right up the middle, touchdown, Ohio State. touchdown of the season. And he continues, Joey, to provide them with a second weapon on the ground to complement Braxton Miller. Extra point for the lead, and they've got it. 7:41 to go here in the third. 80 yards, 8 plays, and Hyde capping it off with the short run. Miller setting it up nicely through the air with Fields, gets him first and goal, and Hyde finishing it off. A good balanced drive for the Buckeyes and a 1-point lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Tell the world what makes you one of a kind with the I'm a hashtag on Twitter.
Now the late Neil Armstrong being remembered by the Purdue football team. A Purdue grad, actually took time off from his studies to serve in the Korean War before he came back to Purdue to finish, and then had his big moment on the moon in 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Great American Neil Armstrong, remembered with that sticker on the helmets of the Purdue players. Of course, well loved here in the state of Ohio as well, for all the years that he spent here in the Buckeye State. Kickoff after the touchdown for OSU, and it's a Akeem Hunt. Had a 100-yard kick return for a score in the first half, taken down at his own 17-yard line by David Perkins. And it's 1st and 10 Boilermakers.
And Purdue's going to have to do something to answer on offense. They had a short field to work with the last time they got the ball. The defense stopped them, got off the field. Purdue has got to answer. Everything went right for this team in the first half, and now early in the second, they're down by 1 point. Can they answer and switch the momentum back to Purdue's side?
Storm Klein is out there at middle linebacker for Ohio State. Turbush at quarterback, his counterpart. And Turbush drops it off in the flat. And the catch is made by McCarthy. Pickup of about 8. Bradley Roby wrapped him up.
It's a nice job by Turbush, moving his feet and keeping his eyes downfield, finding a guy on the flat. They've been pretty good when they've been able to gain 5 or 6 yards on first down, and it keeps those flats open. They've been very good at throwing the ball out in the flat, picking up 3 and 4 whenever they need it on 2nd and 3rd downs.
Turbush, another receiver screen. And the first down for the Boilermakers. Out of bounds at the 38-yard line is McCarthy. Well, we've seen Rob Henry just on a couple of occasions as a kind of a wildcat at quarterback, but it's really been Caleb Turbush throughout today. And Danny Hope and offensive coordinator Gary Nord said they wanted to keep him in the game longer this week and let him get into a rhythm of his own.
And we thought we'd see Rob Henry a little bit more at wide receiver. And we've seen him, maybe one play out there. It'll be interesting to see if they do get him more involved, but he's been on the sideline a lot.
They did get the benefit of O.J. Ross being able to play today, their speed guy receiver. Caught him. They try and sweep it around the left side. Good second effort by Brandon to get out across the 45-yard line. That'll set up a 2nd and short. The 6'4", 260-pound sophomore out of Newton, PA.
And this is another time when the tackling issues for Ohio State come into play here. There's a few guys that get a hit on the running back, and he's able to get 3 or 4 more yards. And those are important yards because they set up this 2nd and short. And as I said, that's when Purdue has been at their best, when they get 5 or 6 on first down.
With the bunched receivers to the left, the throw that way again. 3 plays in a row, getting McCarthy some space out on the perimeter. And let's check in again with Robert Flores in New York.
All right, Beth, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, brought to you by HP. Right now on ESPN, number 6 LSU leading number 18 Texas A&M, 14-12, early 3rd quarter. Zach Mettenberg, the late touchdown pass. Meantime, Rutgers, number 15 in the country, they lead 14-10.
Thank you very much, Robert. Well, back here in Columbus, exactly what the Buckeyes did not want to see. That is another issue with a linebacker. They are already thin at that spot. And the true freshman, Joshua Perry, will get some help over to the sideline.
To make it worse, when you talk to Urban Meyer about his linebacker situation, you know, he talks about the recruiting. They have not found linebackers out there to even recruit. So this could be an issue that hurts Ohio State for 3 to 4 years down the road unless they can start finding linebackers to recruit out there in high school football.
Perry was already replacing the injured Etienne Sabino, who's out with a broken leg. First down, Purdue trying to respond to the Buckeyes' touchdown on their last possession. And Tavian Edison. And Indiana had some success on this play last week, Joey, and obviously Purdue likes it as well. That's 4 in a row to a receiver on the outside.
And they didn't throw as many in the first half as you would expect this offense to throw. They enjoy throwing out to the flat. They like throwing the receiver screens, and they just didn't do it much. But they must have seen something, because here in the second half, they've done it a number of times and been successful when they've done it.
Buckeyes continue to go with 2 linebackers and 5 DBs. Now it's Cotton running right up the middle. And a nice tackle by Shazier. It's going to bring him to ground. 3rd down. You know this Buckeye defense has been ready to go. They've been hearing about it all week. 49 points given up to Indiana, including the 2 late scores last week. Much better thus far this afternoon and trying to deny the Boilermakers. But Caleb Turbush is 5 for 5 through the air here in this 3rd quarter. Play action on 3rd and inches, and they'll drop it off to Shavers. And Shavers diving towards the 30-yard line. And the spot will give him the first down. 3rd catch of the day for Shavers.
And this is a play that was set up pretty nicely. There was a blocker for Bradley Roby, but Roby makes a nice play getting off the block and stopping this from being a really big play. Shavers has the ball out in the flat with a blocker in front. Roby gets off the block and tackles Shavers. He gets the first down, but he did stop the big play.
They go back to the bunched receivers, and they are going to hit it big right here. And the burst into the end zone, and the touchdown for Gary Bush from 31 yards out. They hammered away the entire drive with the wide receiver screen, and they strike it again for the touchdown. PAT is good. 3:49 to go in the 3rd, and a 20-14 Purdue lead as they score out of the bunch set. Gary Bush finds the opening at a couple of nice blocks and his 5th touchdown of the season as the Boilers back on top. And some Buckeye bummage after that last drive. And Purdue with the score and the lead, 20-14, 3:49 to go in the 3rd quarter, looking for their first win here at the Shoe since 1988. And that last drive was receiver screen after bubble screen after receiver screen. 6 passes on that 8-play drive that covered 82 yards in under 4 minutes. And they respond in kind to the Buckeye touchdown. Rod Smith taken down at the 20. Let's check in with Lewis.
Well, Beth, the Ohio State trainers keeping awfully busy right now. You're looking at Joshua Perry, the freshman linebacker who came off the field a moment ago. They looked at his right knee. They put a brace on it. Now you see him on the bicycle trying to work it out to see if he can go back on the field. Earlier in the game, freshman defensive back Devin Bogard left on a cart with a right knee problem. And then we saw Corey Brown, the wide receiver, who came off, looked to be shaken up. I think he's going to be okay. So busy down here.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Brown is not out there on the field presently. And they give to Hyde, and a nice hole up the middle. He runs over the linebacker, Joe Gilliam, with a pickup of 9.
And that's nice blocking by the Ohio State offensive line, allowing Carlos Hyde again to get a full head of steam going downhill and gets into the secondary.
Devin Brown stays on the sideline. Stoneburner, Smith, and Spencer all to the left. Charlo showing safety blitz. Miller going to keep it, and he'll have the first down. Ball may have come out at the tail end of the play. Purdue says they've got it.
It definitely came out. It for sure is on the ground before Braxton Miller hits the ground.
Officials trying to get to the bottom of the pack. The scrum apparently still going on for possession. Miller lost a fumble in the first half. Still no, there's the signal finally, and Miller has lost another one here in the second. Landon Fichter was the guy that knocked it loose. And the Purdue defense gets another takeaway in Buckeye territory.
And this is a Purdue defense that leads the Big Ten in creating turnovers. And it's the third turnover for Braxton Miller today. Gang tackling, one guy holding on, another guy comes in and try to punch the ball out. That's how you've got to handle Braxton Miller. Bring more than one guy to the party, get the ball on the ground, and get to the bottom of the pile and fight for the football.
Gilliam helped strip it out of there, and it might have been Bruce Gaston was the guy that came out with it. And now a short field for Caleb Turbush. They go right back to the bunch formation with the 3 receivers left.
Is under further review. The ruling on the field.
The ruling on the field was a fumble, so they will need indisputable video evidence that it was not a fumble. And there the ball is out and the knee is not down. So Braxton Miller. Now, how will he deal with the adversity of what has been the roughest day for him thus far this season?
It's confirmed there was a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Purdue.
3rd turnover for Miller.
What Purdue has been very good at as a team is when they create a turnover, they're very good at converting that into points. In this situation, they only have 37 yards to go to get a touchdown and less than that to get into field goal range, which would then take this to a 2-score game. And that's the key. Can they put Ohio State in a situation where they have to score quickly and maybe not use their run game?
Tim Tibesar knew they would have to contain Braxton Miller. They have done that. 11 carries, 10 yards, and a couple of fumbles. And now Turbush set to go to work. This bunched set worked brilliantly for them in their last possession. They'll go to the run. Brandon Cottom right into a pile of Buckeye defenders.
When they set up the bunch look down low, you know that they're just looking. You know that Gary Norris is just looking to see what is the defensive lineman, what are they going to play now that we've had some success with our receiver screen. How many defenders will go out there to play the bunch to see if they can run another receiver screen and gain the yards they were gaining in the last series.
Draw to Akeem Hunt, and he's got a big hole up the middle. Akeem Hunt inside the 20. First down, Purdue. C.J. Barnett with the tackle and a gain of 14.
Akeem Hunt averages 11 yards a carry coming into this game, and in this situation they get the Ohio State defense spread out with a draw play, and all of a sudden it's Hunt on safety C.J. Barnett for a big gain, and this definitely gets them within field goal range and puts them well within the red zone.
Boy, Gary Nord and Caleb Turbish are on a roll right now. Outside the entire drive last time, and now gashing them inside. Nowhere to go. Good penetration that time by Big John Simon, the 6'2" senior, coming from his defensive end position.
And Gary Nord is doing a good job of keeping the Ohio State defense off balance with the run, with the receiver screens, with the passes to the flat. You can tell he is in a rhythm now, and Turbush is feeling that, and he's doing a terrific job of running this offense. That's what they said his strength is. He knows how to sustain drives and keep this offense moving the chains.
All the different personnel groupings, traditional and non-traditional. Here comes the big rush, and they try and set up another receiver screen. That one may have been tipped at the line of scrimmage by Nathan Williams. 3rd and long.
Here's a 3rd and long for Purdue in this offense. Turbush is 7 of 8 for 75 yards and 1 TD just in the 3rd quarter alone. And here's a 3rd long. They haven't been in many 3rd and longs here today, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of play they run. The play to the flat will not work here, so they'll have to go downfield if they plan to try to pick this up with the passing game.
Turbush, may have been a broken play as he turned to hand it off, and there was nobody there to give it to. Jonathan Hankins with the tackle, and that'll bring on the field goal unit, and a shake of the head from Gary Nord.
Yeah, a little confusion here. You can see that Turbush is looking, and it appears that Turbush is the one that turns the wrong way. The running backs, Shavers goes to the left, and Akeem Hunt runs forward to get the ball, and Turbush looked to his left, and then at least does not make the big, stupid mistake, and they'll still get the field goal if they can convert.
Riggs from 34 yards out, and it is blocked. That is the second blocked kick of the day for the Buckeyes, who blocked a PAT earlier. Hankins right in the middle. Jonathan Hankins at 6'3", 322.
Hankins makes the tackle on 3rd down and then blocks the field goal. He definitely showed up at the end of that drive.
And another momentum shift. This time to the Buckeyes and Braxton Miller. Breaking it across midfield. The stiff arm on Johnson gets him inside the 40. And Miller for the 2nd time today, slow to get up. After the 38-yard gain, he was hurt in the first half on the late hit from Kuwan Short, and now he might have hit head first on the turf. It appears to be just a handful of jersey at first glance and not up under the collar of Miller. Kenny Guyton, who has come on for an appearance in each of the last 3 games, has led the team to a scoring drive when he's come on a few other occasions when Miller has been momentarily knocked out of a game. the junior out of Houston, Texas.
It's hard to tell. It looks like a shoulder.
Yep.
His shoulder goes into the ground pretty hard in this situation. This is what you get with a Braxton Miller. He gets stuffed all day long and then has the ability to all of a sudden break the big long run for a big gain. And that's where this Purdue defense, you know, they've struggled because they've given up those long runs. And Braxton Miller reels one off here.
We'll take a quick timeout as Miller gets some attention and Purdue on top. Back here in Columbus, and that is sophomore quarterback Braxton Miller after a 37-yard run at the end of the play, tackled by Josh Johnson, and just now getting to his feet. It's the second hit that Miller has taken today. That the late hit penalty on Kawan Short at the end of the first half, and this just moments ago. And he came down hard on the left shoulder and possibly the head.
And it took a long time for him to get off the field on this second play. You wonder what that is. He looks to be looks like he's breathing hard when they had him sitting up. And now, I mean, he's right by the sideline, and they have not gotten him off the field. So you wonder what kind of injury that is. That's usually not a shoulder that would keep a guy from walking off the field. And as you can see now, they're helping him to the bench. So this will, we'll have to wait and see what that is. But that does not appear to be a shoulder with the way they're helping him off the field.
So Braxton Miller to the Ohio State bench, and Kenny Guyton, the junior from Houston who has appeared in 5 games. In the last 3 straight, will come on in relief. And the handoff right up the middle to Carlos Hyde. As the third quarter comes to an end, Purdue with the 20-14 lead. And the developing story of the condition of Braxton Miller, who is now on the Ohio State bench. This presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back here at Ohio State, and this scene unfolding just a moment ago. The injury on the field to Braxton Miller. Over to the bench, and then gingerly moving Miller over to put him on the cart. Throughout his time on the sideline, he was doubled over. They did not lie him flat on the cart to take him out. He is seated. And now being driven off to the Ohio State locker room. So Kenny Guyton is now on at quarterback as Miller will get further assistance in the back. Kenny Guyton now 3rd and 4. And the Buckeyes are down 20-14 starting the 4th quarter. Brown is back out there, the motion man for the Buckeyes. Guyton to the air, broken up. Knocked out of there by Frankie Williams. And with your backup quarterback in there on 4th down, still no decision yet from Urban Meyer. And there is the punting unit coming on.
Kenny Guyton just gets into the game after being on the sideline for so long and has to try to convert a 3rd and 5. Throws the ball to the sideline. Didn't have a lot of mustard on it. Maybe that's from being cold and not having a chance to warm up.
Correction, the field goal unit is on. That is Kenny Guyton, who is a holder for Drew Basil, and a 50-yard attempt. Basil, and that one is no good. Hits the upright from 50 yards out, and Purdue holds, and they will have the ball back.
Definitely has the distance here. The ball sort of tails off to the left side, looks down the middle, and then just goes to the left, hits off the goalpost. And both defenses now have avoided a chance to give up points with field goal issues. Ohio State blocks one, and then Ohio State comes back and just misses one off the goalpost.
Reaction from Urban Meyer. And now Purdue with Caleb Turbush at the helm. Hunt in the backfield. Another new look for Purdue. 4 wide to the right. And the handoff to Hunt, and he is stuffed by Hankins and Simon. And now for an update on Braxton Miller, let's go down to Lewis.
Well, Beth, I was looking up close as the trainers worked on Braxton Miller, and it's hard to say what this injury might be, but I watched them work and touch on the back of his neck, and they kind of moved his hands and what have you. But Braxton Miller, as you mentioned, doubled over in pain, and as they put him on the cart and he drove away, I looked in his eyes, and they were sort of half open, closing back and forth. He looked to be in a lot of pain. Maybe something happened to the head, but Braxton Miller is absolutely in distress. Now going back, I'm assuming, for some sort of x-rays and further diagnostic testing.
Thank you for the report, Lewis. And of course, we won't speculate on the nature of that injury as the passer is ruled incomplete. But what we can tell you is that Braxton Miller, at the tail end of a long run, taken to the ground by Josh Johnson. That was right at the end of the third quarter, and Miller carted off to the locker room. Third down, 3rd and 10 for Purdue to try and keep the football.
And Purdue hasn't gone downfield very well with their pass game yet today, and that's why they need to gain those early yards or early downs to avoid these situations.
Whistle on the snap as the Buckeye faithful were bringing the noise.
Timeout, Ohio State. That's their second charge timeout. This will be a full timeout.
Buckeyes using their second timeout. Back to Ohio Stadium in a moment. Bama, Tennessee coming up tonight. How about BCS Countdown on ESPN and ESPNU tomorrow with the latest release of the BCS standings. 8:30 on ESPN, 9 o'clock on ESPNU. 3rd and 10 for Purdue. Turbush setting up the screen to Hunt. Roby misses the tackle, and Hunt picks up the first down. Out across midfield to the 47-yard line of Ohio State.
And what a play call by Gary Nord. Again, a misdirection, sets it up, has 3 blockers out in front of Hunt. This is just a great play. Turbush rolls out to the right, gets the defense flowing to the right, turns around, gets the ball out into the flat to Hunt. This is just a nice play call. Only one guy left as Roby has a shot, doesn't make the tackle, and it's a big conversion on a 3rd and 10.
And now another injured Ohio State player is Jonathan Hankins, their starting defensive tackle.
Who has played well these past couple series. He's made some big plays. He blocked the field goal. He made a tackle on a big 3rd and short. For him to go down now is huge for this defense. He's one of their playmakers, and that's been one of the problems. They haven't had a lot of playmaking out of their defense, and he's one of the guys that can make a play on the interior.
He's 52 in red.
Looks like his shoulder got bent back in that situation on the tackle.
Hankins will be replaced by sophomore Michael Bennett, number 63. Boren stays in at linebacker for Ohio State, and it's 1st and 10 Purdue after the big 3rd down pickup. There's that bunch set again. They'll run right up the middle. Short gainer there for the Boilermakers. Here's Robert Flores in the studio.
All right, Beth, nominee for AT&T All-America Player of the Week. Let's go back to Thursday, and number 3, Oregon, just putting it on Arizona State. Big reason why Kenyon Barner, 16 carries, 143 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If you'd like to take part, text VOTE to 34763. Results announced Thursday on ESPN. Beth, Joey.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
Well, the Boilermakers with the fourth quarter lead over Ohio State. The Buckeyes at 7-0. Yeah, the Boilermakers at 3-3, and Turbush bobbled the snap, grabs it, and pushes his way forward for a couple of yards. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The 83-yard touchdown strike on the very first play of the game for Purdue. They've also gotten some great special teams play. The Buckeyes denied a potential touchdown with the interception in the end zone. And the injury to Braxton Miller left the game, carted off to the locker room early in this fourth quarter. Rob Henry is on at quarterback. He will take the snap, and he will keep it, and he will be thrown for the loss. Terrific penetration coming right up the middle with John Simon leading the way, and that cleared Ryan Shazier to make the tackle.
Shazier and Zach Bourne. Zach Bourne, the fullback playing linebacker, makes a nice play, shoots through the middle of the line, and is able to get in on this tackle. Makes the Purdue offense go sideways, and he's able to catch up to quarterback Henry out in the flat and makes a big tackle on a 3rd down.
Just his 2nd game at linebacker. He was the defensive player of the year as a linebacker coming out of high school. Pickerington Central. And a terrific punt for the Boilermakers, and they will bury the Buckeyes deep down at the 1-yard line. A 46-yard punt, and a doozy from Cody Webster. Well, let's take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos. The Buckeyes ineligible to be in the BCS standings. They would be number 7 if they were in there, according to ESPN's Brad Edwards.
Big game between West Virginia and Kansas State today. That will definitely affect the BCS standings later on this evening.
Florida and South Carolina also this afternoon. Kenny Guyton at quarterback after the injury to Miller. An opportunity you would imagine, Joey, to see just how good this Ohio State offensive line is, and a lot of Carlos Hyde.
Absolutely going to see Carlos Hyde here, but this coaching staff, they talk about Kenny Guyton and the change that he has made since they've come here, what a leader he has become. They smile, they say such good things about this kid, like he's another coach out on the field, and we'll see now if he can lead these Buckeyes back and get them back into this game.
He had a touchdown pass to Carlos Hyde in the Indiana win last weekend. Rolls out in his end zone. Penalty flag down. And Guyton runs out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Is this a penalty in the end zone on Ohio State?
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 86. That penalty occurred in the end zone. The result is a safety.
And the Boilermaker defense, which has been big all day, puts some points on the board. That was on, they call it on number 78, Andrew Norwell. Right there on weight number 61, right there. (22-14), Purdue with the lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K.
That is the driving simulation laboratory here at Ohio State. They're examining and exploring all the dangers of distracted driving. A new initiative. They've got new research here on campus. We are at Ohio Stadium, 22-14, 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go. The safety for the Purdue defense cleans up the blocked PAT from earlier in the game. So they've gone from a 6-point lead now to an 8-point lead, and they will get the ball back. Drew Basil, after the safety, kicks off from his own 20. Punt Looking for room up the middle, taken down at the 33-yard line. Braxton Miller injured in the third corner. Lewis Johnson has more for us.
Well, Beth, I am on the southeast corner of the stadium, just outside the Ohio State locker room, where Braxton Miller has been attended to inside. And just about 3 minutes ago, one of the officers signaled for a gurney and a board to be brought into the locker room. The ambulance is now pulled up to the Ohio State locker room door, and it is my understanding that they're going to load Braxton Miller up and take him to the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, which is right here on campus about 5 minutes away. So we will look for further developments, but Miller all the way to the hospital.
Thank you very much, Lewis. And the latest on Braxton Miller, Kenny Guyton is the quarterback for the Buckeyes, and they are hoping that their defense can get the ball back. Caleb Turbush and this Purdue offense, boy, when they've needed to make some plays today, he has engineered it for them.
He's done a really good job of sustaining drives, and that will keep the clock running. And it's going to be key now. There's 9 minutes and 30 seconds left. They're up by 8. If they can find a way to put any more points on the board, that's a lot of pressure on Kenny Guyton and the Ohio State offense, who's better known for running the ball.
Empty set for Purdue. The pass caught by McDonald out to the 41-yard line. That'll be a couple yards short of the marker. Bradley Roby with the stop. 6th catch of the day for McCarthy.
That's a good job. Good job by McCarthy finding the soft spot in the zone. We've seen this earlier. Turbush does a nice job delivering a strike on time in a soft spot of the zone to set up a 3rd and 2.
Seeing a lot of McCarthy today due to the turf toe issue that O.J. Ross is dealing with. They'll bunch the formation left, and they'll run it the other way, and Shavers into Buckeye territory to the 44-yard line. Rick Schmeig, the center, leading the charge. 14 yards on the run.
A nice block out to the right side by the offensive line. Just getting enough to allow Shavers to, number one, get the first down. And Shavers does a nice job of staying on his feet, running through an arm tackle, and getting a big gain, and getting on the positive side of the 50-yard line.
That'll get them the first down. That'll keep the clock moving. Turbush will keep Garrett Goebel with the tackle. The Boilermakers had the big win against Ohio State late last season. It's been a long time. Got to go back to 1988, the last time, though, that they won here in Columbus. In fact, just twice in the last 60 years for the Boilermakers. A span of 21 trips to Columbus.
And Luke Fickell's defense can't give up many more yards because they get maybe another first down. They're in field goal range, and that's the scary part here, is getting any more points makes it a 2-possession game.
Hunt with the carry, Christian Bryant with the stop. Well, last year, losses to Michigan and Wisconsin, and then the big win against Ohio State enabled them to finish with a bowl appearance. Will it be similar this time, even though the losses were at home to Michigan and Wisconsin and now on the road in Columbus?
It's interesting. Coach Gary Nord brought that up in our conversation. He realizes that and told his team about this situation, have a chance to come and beat Ohio State with repeat last year.
Hunt. Not a whole lot of room up the middle. Let's check in with Lewis.
Well, Beth, right now, Braxton Miller has been brought out of the locker room on that gurney, and he is being loaded into the ambulance, and they're going to transport him to the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, which, again, is just right on campus, about 5 minutes away. No word yet on what to the extent of the injury is, but obviously significant enough to take him to the hospital for an update, but now in the ambulance and headed out.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Braxton Miller injured late in the third quarter, carted off the field early in this fourth quarter. And now Lewis Johnson reporting that he will be taken to a nearby hospital. We do not know the extent of any possible injuries. 6:03 to play. Buckeyes will have the ball back. ESPN College Football is available anytime, anywhere on your computer or mobile device with the WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Download yours today. Back here in Ohio Stadium, 6:03 to play. Ohio State undefeated at 7-0. They are down 8 to Purdue. Devin Smith out to the 29-yard line. Maybe a foot or so shy of the first down. That is his first catch of the day. Kenny Guyton is in at quarterback for Ohio State, replacing the injured Braxton Miller, who Lewis Johnson just reported was put in an ambulance and is being taken to a nearby hospital after sustaining an injury at the end of the third quarter. Guyton will give to Carlos Hyde, trying to get around the edge. Ball is loose and out of bounds at the 30. Run out by Josh Johnson, who also made the tackle here on Miller. He was taken to the bench and then helped from the bench into a cart, went back to the locker room, and then into the ambulance just outside the Buckeyes locker room. And the injury coming just at the end of the third quarter. Third down and 2 for Ohio State. Hyde hit by Short, and he will not get there. The big guy coming up big right there.
And Kawan Short, who leads the Big Ten in tackles for a loss, gets into the backfield, penetrates well. He's such a big guy and hard to move that if you don't put two guys on him, Kawan Short will penetrate your offense and make a tackle in the backfield. Now, it's a 4th and 2. This is a scary situation because if you don't make it, Purdue is already in the red zone, already in scoring position.
They need to get to the 30. Hyde, he's got it. Rumbling his way out across the 35 to the 36. First down, Buckeyes. And a pickup of 9.
Coach Meyer talked about wanting tough guys. He put that on the back of his offensive line and said, we're going to run it right up the gut again and see if we can't pick up these 2 yards. And they did that downhill with Carlos Hyde.
So the 4th down conversion.
It's on. It's going to be enough. Please take it. They did.
Play action with Hyde. Guyton throwing deep. Has Smith turned around, incomplete. Josh Johnson on the coverage.
Just has to get this ball out there a little further. This is a throw. The down the sideline deep ball is a throw that Braxton Miller specializes at. Here Kenny Guyton comes in. It's his first time going downfield on a pass. It's through the wrong shoulder, and it's a little short and allows the defensive back to recover and smack the ball away.
Just the 13th pass attempt of the season for Kenny. He's 1 for 3 today. Under 4 minutes to go. Buckeyes need a score and a 2-point conversion. Guyton getting to the outside. He'll throw it underneath to Hyde. He needed just a 1 foot in, and he got it for the short gain. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and 8. Buckeyes have already established that they are in 4-down territory.
And there's the difference between Braxton Miller and Kenny Guyton. When Kenny Guyton rolls out here, there's not as big a threat for him to take off running with his feet and make the big play running the ball. He's going to get the ball out, and sometimes that'll be a short throw. Now here it's set up a 3rd and long where he may have to throw again.
Deep threat Smith is to the bottom of the screen. And a whistle. I don't know if Kenny got it off in time.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That flag coming from the back judge.
Penalty marks the ball at the 34-yard line.
Did not beat the play clock.
And that's the problem when you burn timeouts earlier in the half. They only have one left, so they can't burn another timeout in that situation. They have to take the penalty, which it was already 3rd long. Now it's 3rd and 13, and Kenny Guyton hasn't done very well going down the field.
Looking deep for Stoneburner. Pops up in the air, and it is intercepted. Fighter with the pick. The 4th takeaway of the day for the Boilermaker defense after Taylor Richards tipped it.
And this is the throw, Kenny Guyton trying to go downfield. And again, this ball is underthrown. That's his 2nd underthrown ball downfield today.
And off the ricochet, Fighter with the pick. And the Boilermakers have it with 2:40 to go. 2:40 to play. The Buckeyes are looking at potentially their first loss of the season as the Boilermakers have come into Columbus. An 8-point lead, 2:40 to go. And after the turnover, Purdue will try and work the clock, and they will not start out the way they intended.
False start. Offense, number 25. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The other major story of the day here in Columbus, Braxton Miller, injured in the 3rd quarter, has reportedly been taken to a nearby hospital. We do not know the extent of Miller's injury. What a turnaround for the Boilermaker defense from last week to this week. They got mauled by Wisconsin, and they have been terrific so far today in containing the Buckeye attack. Gabe Holmes may have gotten one. Now it's up to the Buckeye defense here to try and get them another shot. Final timeout for the Buckeyes, so they will not have one if they do get the ball back. How about our All-State good hands play of the day? And it's a handful of bubble screens on that, what would now be the go-ahead scoring drive, Joey. 6 passes on 8 plays in the drive.
And this is what got the Purdue offense going in the 2nd half. They had a couple times they got off the field, and then they went to the bubble screens, and it opened up everything for the offense. It even opened up the run game. They're able to finally punch one in the end zone and take the lead on a bubble screen to the wide receivers.
2nd and 14. On the handoff, caught him. Got out to the 16. It'll be 3rd and long, and without a timeout left for Ohio State and the clock running. If you're Purdue, do you throw it here, or do you just keep it on the ground and hope for the best?
I don't think they will. I think they will keep it on the ground. They played safe these last 2 drives. They were on the plus side of the 50 in their last drive on a 3rd long, and they decided to run it up the middle and then punt it on 4th down. So I'm quite sure on their own 15, they will absolutely try to run this ball, keep the clock running, and punt it away to Ohio State.
Well, obviously, Purdue here is going to run this clock all the way down the play clock and then use one of their 3 timeouts. And there is the stoppage. 1:48 left to go. And what a huge moment this would be for Purdue, coming in at 3-3. A lot of folks, even in West Lafayette, talking about a team that has underachieved to this point, had big expectations at the beginning of the season. This would put them right back on track if they can win here in Columbus for the first time since 1988.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'd be pretty excited to come to Ohio Stadium and win versus a 7-0 Buckeyes team that looked like the best team in the Big Ten. Purdue came in here, needed to play better defense, needed to tackle better, needed to cut off some of the rushing yards they've given up the past 2 weeks, and they have done that. They've played marvelously on defense, and their offense has done just enough to keep them in it.
They gave up over 400 yards on the ground last week. They have held Ohio State to 141 so far today. The Buckeyes and Nittany Lions ineligible for the Big Ten championship game, so Purdue with a win could stay in the race. The handoff. Shavers trying to get to the outside. He will not pick up the first down yardage. But he does make the heady play. The senior stays in bounds, and the clock continues to roll.
Really nice play by Shavers to have it, to bounce the ball out first and keep the clock running as he's keeping his feet alive, and then realizes he's getting close to the sideline, stays in bounds, and again, it accomplishes what they want to accomplish, take more time off the clock, and by the time Ohio State and Kenny Guyton get this ball back, it should be under a minute with no timeouts left.
Danny Hope will let that run down. So the punting situation here on 4th down. Corey Brown, who had a punt return for a touchdown in the Nebraska game, is not the deep man. It's actually Chris Fields who is back to receive. And now the spotlight on Kenny Guyton, the junior from Houston, who has come on to play in relief of an injured Braxton Miller in each of the last 3 games. Miller was able to return on those previous occasions, unable to return after getting knocked out of the game in the 3rd quarter this afternoon. We welcome our larger audience to our game here in Columbus. Taking a couple of bounces on the punt to Chris Fields. He will pick it up and try to get to the outside, and he will run out of bounds for the Buckeyes at their own 39-yard line with 47 seconds on the clock. And Kenny Guyton at quarterback for Ohio State, replacing the injured Braxton Miller. They need the touchdown and the 2-point conversion to tie it up. This was a game that went to overtime last year. And here is the injury to Braxton Miller.
Ohio State football, 1st and 10.
The tackle by Josh Johnson. There was no flag on that play, by the way. He was helped off to the sideline and then put in an ambulance and taken to a nearby hospital. The extent of his injuries unknown. Guyton trying to engineer the comeback, and he's got a wide open Devin Smith to the 22-yard line. Cut back to the inside. It looked like he might have had a chance to step to the outside. The clock will start up on the spot. A 39-yard gain. Guyton quickly to the line. There goes to clock. They will not spike it. They'll run the play. Guyton on the rollout to Evan Spencer. Caught inside the 15 and out of bounds. 28 seconds to go.
You got to like what Kenny Guyton is doing here. He goes downfield, finally completes one downfield to a wide open wide receiver, gets his offensive team up on the ball, chooses not to spike the ball, but let's run a play. This is college. The clock stops on the 1st down, so you have time to call a play, does a really good job, and then gets an 8-yard gain where the receiver can get out of bounds and stop the clock.
Buckeyes, no timeouts. Guyton rolling to the left this time. Guyton with Macy bearing down on him, and Guyton will throw it away. Well, when we asked the coaches about Kenny Guyton yesterday, what did they tell? He's a coach's kid. He knows the game. He's a smart guy, and he has the respect of all of his teammates, who may have freaked out when you lose your starting quarterback, Braxton Miller, but they love the job that Kenny can do for them at quarterback.
I think if this is last year, they're a lot more nervous than the Kenny Guyton that they have now. This guy, they love the way his approach to the game. They love his knowledge of the game, and they like the way he leads this team. He's on the leadership council because he's made such a turnaround, become that kind of player.
Third down. They will run the ball up the middle to Carlos Hyde, trying to get the first down yardage.
And now you may see the spike.
And there it is to stop the clock. 15 seconds to go. So they had to run it to get the first down. They have to burn about 4 seconds after the spot of that ball before the spike.
15 seconds left. They can still get a first down without getting to the end zone, but there's only 15 seconds left. You wonder how many plays they can run from the 10-yard line and what they have in mind with this passing game, how many plays they have for this type of situation, this deep in the red zone to get them to the end zone.
Guyton underneath, incomplete to a diving Evan Spencer at the 2.
And that play only took 3 seconds. And so that's a quick throw, a 3-second play. It's third down, so they'll get at least 2 more plays here if they don't get a first down.
No timeout, so they would have to go to the outside if they did not go to the end zone. Guyton looking to the corner, into the end zone, incomplete, the flag down.
Pass interference, defense, number 28. Penalty occurred in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 2-yard line.
Not a whole lot there, but it's a call that they made, Beth. And in this situation, defensively, you tell your defensive backs right now, tackle the wide receivers. Don't let them run routes because the clock will be running.
From the 2, first and goal, Guyton throwing for the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown by Chris Fields. And now they need the 2-point conversion to tie the game. I believe this play will be reviewed upstairs.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
They would need video evidence to prove that it was not a catch in order to turn this over. On the season, if this play does stand, the Buckeyes are 2 for 2 on their 2-point conversions, but in both instances, they were at the hand of Braxton Miller, who is out of the game with an injury.
In this situation, on the 2-yard line with 8 seconds left, if you're on defense, you teach your defensive backs to tackle the wideouts. Do not let them run a route, because you only lose 1 yard if they call a penalty, and then you eliminate a play. The play clock is running regardless. There's 3 seconds left, and then they only have 1 play to run in that situation. They allowed these guys to get open. They allowed them to run out of a bunch. And this appears to be a catch to me. This appears to be a touchdown.
We haven't seen a replay that gives us indisputable evidence to the contrary of the call on the field, which is a touchdown.
And you got to give Guyton credit. I mean, he didn't look great the series before. Throws the interception, underthrows a couple balls, and then when they need it, when there's less than a minute left with the game on the line, down by 8, Kenny Guyton steps up, makes a number of throws. He goes 7 plays for 61 yards in 44 seconds with their season on the line here. I mean, they're 7-0, and this is a team that's talking about going undefeated so that they can keep their names in the conversation, because they're in the situation. They can't play in the postseason, but it keeps them in every conversation as long as they're undefeated.
After review, the play stands as called on the field.
Touchdown Buckeyes. Well, last year in West Lafayette, the Boilermakers blocked a PAT late in regulation to force overtime. They won it in OT. Now, a year later, the Buckeyes need a two-point conversion here to tie it up with 3 seconds to go in regulation. Guyton on the rollout. Looking back the other way. Guyton to the end zone. Jeff Hireman ties it up.
Can't say enough about Guyton. He stands in the pocket. He does not panic. The last couple drives didn't go well, but he said, look, I got it less than a minute. I have no timeouts. I'm going to take my team, put them in the end zone, not once, but then score 2 to tie this game at the end. Can't say enough about his poise. Can't say enough about his confidence and the way he rebounded to go get that touchdown and a two-point conversion.
The junior, who did not walk away after the sophomore Braxton Miller won the starting job. And Guyton, who is amongst the most respected guys on this team, has had a few moments in the last few games, and now the biggest of his Buckeye career. Has he done enough to get Ohio State into overtime? Purdue has returned a kickoff for a touchdown today. The squibber up the middle. Akeem Hunt will not take it the distance this time as the clock expires. And for the second year in a row, the Buckeyes and Boilermakers will play an extra session. Kenny Guyton to Chris Fields, the 2-yard score to get them within 2. And then Guyton to his tight end, Jeff Hireman, sneaking out the back door. And we are even at 22 apiece and headed to OT in Columbus. Going to overtime here at Ohio Stadium. Ohio State trying to stay undefeated. The comeback in the final minute engineered by Kenny Guyton. And the coin toss.
You want to pick defense, okay? Now, you get to decide what end of the field you want to play on.
Last year we went to overtime in this game. Ohio State started out with a field goal. Purdue responded
Purdue wins the toss, and we'll play defense.
With a Robert Marv touchdown run to win it. So the Boilermakers get the toss. They will defend. You get a possession that will start at the 25-yard line. And if we are even headed to that third overtime, you've got to start going for 2. The Purdue defense, terrific today. A couple of big plays for them on offense and on special teams. They forced 4 turnovers. Braxton Miller knocked out of the game at the end of the third quarter. And Kenny Guyton engineering the game-tying drive and the 2-point conversion in the final minute of the fourth quarter to knot it at 22.
And this Purdue defense, up until that last drive, had played mistake-free football. And then on the last drive, left a receiver open downfield for 30, 40-yard gain, and then left the tight end wide open for a 2-point conversion.
Corey Brown was nicked up earlier in the game. We did not see much of him in that fourth quarter, and Kenny Guyton just hanging on trying to dive back to the line of scrimmage. Second down. Robert Macy has had a good day defensively. He was there to bother Guyton.
That's a nice job by Guyton catching the high snap and not letting that turn into a much worse play and keeping it at 2nd and 10.
Empty set for Guyton. Eyes downfield. Got stoned. First down inside the 10. Diving to the 7. The first catch of the day for Jake.
And you can see Kenny Guyton getting more and more comfortable standing in the pocket. Great protection by his offensive line, keeping the pocket, and Guyton stands there, waits on Stoneburner to break across the field and throws a strike.
17-yard pickup. Guyton now 6 for 12, 77 yards. On in relief, they give to Carlos Hyde. Gets the helmet down inside the 5 to the 3. Tackled by Taylor Richards. 2nd and goal.
And again, nice blocking by that left side of the Ohio State offensive line. Norwell, Lindsley, Mayork. I mean, that is good block, a nice hole for Carlos Hyde to go downfield and set up a 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line.
17 carries, 91 yards today for Carlos Hyde. He'll get it again. Trying to second effort it in. No, check that. Guyton keeps it, diving to the 1. Good ball fake.
Kenny Guyton on the carry. Tackled by Taylor Richards and Sean Robinson.
Carlos Hyde diving in for the touchdown. Buckeyes take the lead in overtime. Second TD of the day for Carlos as he goes airborne.
And again, that's an offensive line off to the left side. Lets Carlos Hyde get into the end zone.
He ran right up the back of Corey Lindsley and in. Extra point is good. So Ohio State first up in overtime, and they hit for 7. And now it's Caleb Turbush's turn. So Kenny Guyton guiding the Buckeyes late in regulation and now in OT after the injury at the end of the 3rd quarter to Braxton Miller. On the tackle by Josh Johnson, there was not a flag on that play. Miller taken to the locker room and eventually into an ambulance to a local hospital. The extent of his injury is unknown. Purdue needs 7 to force a second OT. Turbush with the fake, going upfield, incomplete. Intended for Gabe Holmes, and it was a good stick by C.J. Barnett late in the play.
And this is the ball that needs to come out a little earlier. The receiver is wide open out in the flat. Turbush has got to get this ball out, and it's a nice hit by C.J. Barnett to make sure that the receiver cannot bring this ball in.
Well, it looks like Holmes had a good shot at that, but Barnett able to jar it loose. 2nd down, Boilermakers. Turbush, incomplete. Over the head of McCarthy. 3rd down.
Ohio State brings the blitz right up the gut. Unblocked man makes Turbush get the ball out before he wants to. He takes the big hit, throws the high ball, incomplete, setting up a 3rd and 10.
Turbush Turbush. They try another receiver screen to Gabe Holmes. He gets to the 20. It will be 4th down. They need the 15 for a first down.
Tackled by Jonathan Hankins.
Injured player for Ohio State is Jonathan Hankins. Second time he's been down today.
Hankins in on this tackle, and it's really good hustle. I mean, for your defensive tackle to rush the quarterback and then still have the ability to get out wide and make a tackle is really nice play and really nice hustle by Hankins.
Purdue had the interception with 2:40 to go in that 4th quarter. They had the ball and an 8-point lead. There was a 3rd down play around midfield, Joey, where they ran it right up the middle, a very conservative play. They had to punt the ball away. That gave the Buckeyes an opportunity to come back late. That's the injury to Braxton Miller. That was at the end of the 3rd quarter. Kenny Guyton with the touchdown drive in the final minute. Got the 2-point conversion, and now an OT. They give there to Hyde for the score. Will it be enough for the Buckeyes? Purdue 5 yards away from extending it a little more. Timeout,
This will be a
Boilermakers.
30-second timeout.
Joey, do they go back to the bubble screen that's worked so well for them in the second half?
I just think that's a tough call because it's throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and then you've got to gain those extra 5 yards. If it's me, I go downfield a little bit. And they haven't done that well today, and I think it's game planning a little bit. They've thrown the bubble screen. They've thrown the ball out to the flat. In this case, in this situation, on 4th and 5 with the game on the line, I think I'm going to try to throw the ball beyond the first down marker and see if I can complete one instead of depending on my guy to make a catch and run for the first down.
We have not seen much of O.J. Ross. Let's see if they would look to Antavian Edison. A couple of catches today. He's been rather quiet. He is a catch now in 28 straight games. He's number 13 there with the long hair.
And this is where your crowd, your 12th man, should come into play. It should be so loud that Turbush can't get his cadence, can't get his guys to hear the cadence in this situation.
4th and 5. Turbush stepping up on the run, launching it for the end zone. Incomplete. And the Ohio State Buckeyes win it in overtime. Kenny Guyton engineering the comeback after the injury to Braxton Miller. A scoring drive in the final minute of regulation. Another touchdown drive in OT. And on 4th down, the Buckeye defense holds.
In this situation, Turbush has got to keep this ball in bounds and at least allow his receiver to have a chance to make a play on the ball.
Intended for Crosby Wright. Christian Bryant with the coverage. Let's go down on the field now with Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks very much. Coach, what do you make of the way this team got into overtime and then pulled out the victory here?
I think if you look up resiliency, and I mean, we had some tough injuries to a couple of our leaders, and That's a resilient win against a good team.
What about Kenny Guyton, the way he did get it to overtime and then the way you rocked the stadium to bring it back for the win?
The old right-hander made some plays for us, but he prepares. You know, he prepares the right way.
In a situation like this, you're 7-0, everything's on the line. What did you learn about your team in a moment like this?
I learned about 4 weeks ago. They got real serious about their jobs. We're not a great team, but we're getting better and better and better. And at the end of the day, we just got to find a way to win a game.
And finally, most importantly, any update on Braxton Miller?
No, I'm anxious to find out as well.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. Beth?
Thank you, Lewis. In overtime, our final score, Ohio State 29, Purdue 22. Now, let's get you back to the studio.